What do you want? I'm in the middle of a podcast. Leave me alone.
This guy who really is, I think, a bad guy. Russell, I think you are a bad guy.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what the truth.
I don't want him knowing where I live.
You can hate Russell, but one thing you cannot take from Russell is his ability to play that game.
I ain't finished playing just yet.
Welcome to the Russell Hantz Show. Today we have one of my favorites. She probably doesn't know this. Holly Hoffman from Nicaragua, 21. What's up, Holly?
Hey, one of your favorites? I did not know that.
You're one of
Russell.
my favorites because
I
I liked it because I like the people that shows pure grit, like that overcomes different things in the time that they're playing Survivor, such as when you were about to quit and you checked out, and most people when they check out, and it deals with life too, when you check out of situations you give up and that's it. But you had the strength you're mentally checked out and you was able to pull it back in and get through the season and get all the way to the finals.
Yeah, well, we both know how hard it is, and you can sit at home and watch it on television and, sitting on your couch, but when you get out there and you realize how hard it really is, for me, I judged a lot of the seasons that I watched, and now I sit back and I think, God, would have I done that or wouldn't I? But you also got to remember the mental and physical things that these people are going through while they're on the island. But I do appreciate you saying that very much. I really do.
I mean, but it's easy when you have it, and you have the strength to do something, and you just never slow down. But that's somewhat easy. Now, what's really hard is when you give up on something, but because I did it once in the first time I played, but you couldn't see it because when I was doing the first challenge and I was moving that boulder full of wood and I carried it and I had to bring it back, in my mind, I quit. I was telling myself, you can't do this. You can't. I heard it. I heard it in my mind saying, you have to stop. You're about to pass out. You can't do it. You can't do it. I kept hearing that. And then immediately my heart stepped in and I started thinking my kids are watching me. Like literally right now, my kids are watching me right now. I cannot quit. I cannot give up. So when you hear that statement that you can do all things, just keep trying. It's just really a cliche until you actually do it. When you actually go through, I was somewhat emotional after all this. Now, nobody's seen this. I never even talked about this. After that challenge, I got in the van to go back to camp, and I was somewhat emotional because I was like, I cannot believe I just did that. That is something that I thought that I could never do. My mind told me I couldn't do it. My mind told me to stop, but I kept going. I kept pushing forward, and I was able to finish the challenge. It was, to me, it was an emotional thing because I went somewhere that I never, ever thought that I had.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even on like tonight's episode, we all look at Joe, and Joe, he's playing a hard game. Was he trying to get under people's skin? But what did he say? I will not give up.
Right.
And he said that in tonight's game. And I was a little upset with Joe because I thought to myself, gosh, he's trying to get under Chrissy's skin. He's trying to get under Ashley's skin. But he's playing the game. You
see, we'll go ahead and talk about that now, and then we'll get back to the beginning.
Okay.
But when Joe, when he walks into camp and then he says he's going to get under people's skin, well, he walks into camp and he starts getting under Chrissy's skin. The thing is that I don't know if that's a strategy because people think that I did that. I didn't do that strategy. I was a villain, a different type of villain. I wasn't a hands-in-your-face villain. I was, I was a villain that you didn't see coming, which that's how I got to the end. Now Joe is a hands-in-your-face type villain, like gives you the bird in your face. I gave you the bird.
Rubs it in.
Right, I gave you the bird behind your back with you not looking because I'm playing a game for $1 million. Now, yeah, I respect the fact that he is not giving up in the game and he keeps fighting. I respect that. And it makes a good point to where if they hate me and the numbers keep dwindling down, at some point in time, you're going to start thinking, okay, who am I going to bring to the end of this game? Who can I beat at the end of this game? So then you start thinking, well, let me take Joe because I can beat Joe. So let me drag him along. And I think that's what Ben kind of has in mind. Let me drag him along. And then at the end of the day, I'll beat him for the $1 million because nobody's going to vote for him. But we're not living in that little world, fantasy world of a game show that everybody think that they're watching. Because the people out there that's playing, it's real. And that hate is real right now. And that bullying that Joe is doing, because that's what it is. It's bullying, but it's a game. But in that game, it's real. It's real to Chrissy. She's being bullied by Joe, and that might set off something in her past. So for her right there, it's real. So that's why it doesn't work in the game of Survivor. When you bully someone, you're not going to make it to, most of the time you don't make it to the end. He's going to go. He's not going to make the final 3. No way. Because of human nature. That's where the bitter jury comes in also. Human nature.
Oh, absolutely.
So because of that, he will not make it to the end. And that's why that strategy is not a good strategy.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of shocked at, I know he's playing hard. I just liked his comment. He's digging for idols in front of people.
Well,
that's another thing.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about. First of all, they win the reward challenge. We're kind of going in all kind of different directions right now, but
yeah, maybe we should start at the beginning. What do you think, Russell?
Yeah, we can do that. So
let's start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. Okay, we'll get to that. It's just such an interesting topic because when you see them, you emotionally get involved about watching it, especially me with dealing with the idols that I've dealt with in the past seasons. When I see somebody digging for an idol in front of everybody, I'm like, well, I kind of did that too. But then, and he knows he's in trouble. It's a complicated thing. Very complicated. And we'll get to it. So we'll start from the beginning. So right off the bat, last season, Lauren had to do some kind of not vote to be able to give her an extra vote.
Advantage.
Right. So she got the secret advantage, and now that's in play. We don't know how that's going to work, but immediately she's talking at the beginning of the episode saying, my secret advantage is in play. And when you're dealing with a 7-team alliance like that, I think that secret advantage could actually work for her, down the line.
Oh, yeah. And Ben still knows that she has that. The two of them, Ben knows about Lauren's secret advantage.
Yeah. And they have a 7 people alliance, right? 7 people.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a 7 people alliance?
No, that's stupid.
Right.
Because we both know that the numbers are going to kill. 4 is going to definitely kill the 3. I mean,
who's at the bottom of that 7? Because when you think about it, when you're out there and you have plenty of time to think, somebody's at the bottom of that 7. So if you get with these other people and bring them in, all of a sudden you're at the top of your 5 or whatever you make it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I really like Lauren. She's a really strong, smart, calm player. She really hasn't done anything loud or obnoxious, or she says it and she gets right to the point.
Yeah.
So I really like her gameplay so far.
Would you trust? Does she seem like the type of person that you could trust?
Yes.
Does
Ben? If I was out there playing, I would trust. And yes, Ben and Lauren, I would trust.
But doesn't that get to you under your skin? Watching Ben, it gets under my skin Ben gets under my skin more than Joe. When I see somebody completely controlling something and nobody is seeing it, or they see it, but they don't do anything about it.
Anything about it, yeah, because it was mentioned. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all know.
It gets under your. They all know, but it gets under my skin at the same time. But it's still, if nobody's going to bring it up or say anything about it, wouldn't you keep going? I mean, it's working to their advantage so far.
To Ben's, yeah. I mean, he gets what he wants right now.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, because when I played, and you can tell me about how you did it, but when I played, I tried to make someone like they were involved in the decision, not me making the total decision. So then all of a sudden it looks like, oh, Russell's trying to control everything. You never heard that when I played, because I made them feel like they were a part of something special. And then they ultimately they think that they made that decision. And then at the end of the day, that's why they're so bitter, because they don't know what just happened. Well, that's not happening with Ben. With Ben, he's making all the decisions. Even when they come up with a decision, a different decision, he shuts it down, which is extremely dangerous.
Dangerous, very. Yeah, because Chrissy did talk to him, and then he totally shut her down. Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, what do you think about that when you play in a game like that?
My gameplay was a little bit different than yours. I got in with those young kids, and it was almost like Chase I was able to control. Chase never really knew who to go for, what was going on, so I basically told him, and he didn't get the whole she's controlling the game type thing. Where Sash I had to be a little bit more careful with, because Sash was a total game player, but a lot of times Sash and I would make the decisions, and we would just tell Chase what to do. Once we got rid of Jane, it was a lot easier, But yeah, Jane made a lot of the decisions, but I did have them involved. But a lot of the younger kids, I was able to tell them what to do.
Right. So do you think you was a Ben type player?
Yeah, I kind of was.
Well, but that's really hard to. That's really hard. You know what? It's easier for a woman, in my experience, and it seems like it's easier for a woman to do that than a man to do it. Because when a man does it, it just seems like he's bullying. You know what I mean? It seems like he's trying to take control, like pop her on the head with a stick and knock her out and then take her where you want her. Like caveman days, like take control, beating his chest. And it just doesn't, and you don't like that, especially nowadays.
No, you don't. But I do have to say my gameplay was a little bit like Ben's, and maybe that's why I like him. But I also like him. He stays calm. You never. He does stay calm. Ben, he's very calm. And so is Lauren. She's a very calm player.
Yeah, that's a positive for Ben. Now it's a negative that he's trying to control the game, but being that positive can bring him a long ways.
A long way.
Without arguing, without sitting there. That was the hard thing for me. When I needed something to happen the way I needed it to happen, a few times I got out of character and, went off on maybe Natalie White or something like that, because she just wasn't listening. And she definitely couldn't make the decisions in a game like that. Even though she won the whole entire game, she didn't make one decision. But, so I can see how someone would get enamored by someone being calm and still making the decisions.
Yeah. Well, that's, I think, why I like them. Ben reminds me a little bit of, I probably wasn't as calm as Ben, but I really, really like Lauren because of that. So it'll be interesting to see how that secret advantage does come in. That'll be very, very interesting.
It would be really interesting to see Lauren and Ben vote each other out, or something happen between them two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Now we have Ryan.
Something may.
Right, we have Ryan walking around with an idol in his pants, and
Devin,
he tells Devin, and he tells Ben the same story. That he has the idol.
Do that. The Ryan.
Just pick one and stick to it, right?
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
Well, look, I knew that was coming. I knew you were going to say that. The problem with that is you cannot just stick an idol in your pants. Well, he actually could have. He could have stuck that idol in his pants, and he could have, went a little further in the game. I don't know how far he goes, but he could have. He's not in a jeopardy right now. He puts himself in jeopardy by talking about the idol. When you're in jeopardy, that's when you talk about the idol. If your team's in jeopardy, you talk about the idol. You try to do things to save yourself.
Yeah, I would probably, when he told Devin, first of all, I was like, why is he telling anyone at this point of the game?
Yeah, you're
and
right.
Then when he went and told Ben, I'm like, what, Russell, what's the purpose of that? I mean, why would you tell one person, listen, you're the only person I'm going to tell, and then you go to another, this is Survivor.
His strategic
like,
thinking, he said it. He said, trust is king. How do you, I wrote it down somewhere. He said something like that. So, but the problem is, he's right. But the problem is, you're doing it to everybody. So when you're telling this person, and then you go tell this person the same thing, and then these two collaborate about what you've told them, then all of a sudden these two do not trust you. So then it becomes exactly what you said. Trust is king. And I don't know if he said exactly like that, but
and then when Devin and
trust
Ben
is
had the
power, he
conversation,
says.
I think they both kind of knew, and I thought that was a very smart move that Ben told Devin. That Ben actually said, well, Ryan told me he had an idol, and Devin was
well, they all trust
too,
Devin.
Boom.
Well, I don't know, because, for them it helped. For them, but what about a future survivor? Would you tell a future Survivor player that if someone tells you about an idol, go tell someone else about it? And when they say, hey, don't tell anybody, I mean, is that a good move? I don't know if that's a good move. So he runs and tells Devin that Ryan has the idol, and Ryan told him. And then it just happened to be where they both trust Devin so much that everybody's telling them secrets. And Devin's just sitting there just eating it up.
Yep. Well, of course he would, wouldn't you? I mean, you've got that in your back pocket.
I would immediately not trust Ryan. I would immediately say, you know what? I would have got him out today. This episode, he would have been gone.
Yep, I totally agree. I mean, blindside him because he's got the idol they wouldn't have known. I mean, I actually thought when Devin and Ben were talking.
Yes, I did too.
And Ben looked at him and told Devin, well, Ryan told me, and Devin was like, he told you too? I would have been like, he's the next one out. Bam. No question about it. Yeah. I actually thought there was a possibility he was going home until, the challenge started and he got closer to the end. But then I thought too, maybe but I totally agree with you.
I think Ryan's a little delusional too. He seriously thinks that Devin is totally dependent on him. Almost like a mother and her child breastfeeding. It's like he thinks he's dependent. Like that's a strong word to use. I mean, a baby is dependent on the mother to feed him or her. Yeah. So when he said that, I'm like, what? Who do you think you are? Ryan thinks that this guy just can't live without him in the game of Survivor. So, saying stuff like that, Ryan thinks he's in control. Ben thinks he's in control. Chrissy thinks Chrissy, I think that she knows that Ben thinks he's in control and she's trying to be in control.
Yeah, I think Ben is more in control than Chrissy because Ben basically but Chrissy's got a little bit of power in the game too. I think there's a lot of things they're not showing us about Chrissy. I think she's got more power than people realize, but she's also another one of those very smart players. She's trying not to piss people off.
Right. Yeah, I mean we got a lot of that this season.
Yeah.
I think every single person out there except for Joe is trying not to piss people off. And Joe is trying to piss people off straight up.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
And, I know that Joe knows in his head right now, as he's playing, that he's pretty much fucked.
Oh, well, I mean...
Unless they start saying, I can beat him at the end. I can't beat Ben. Yeah. I can't beat so-and-so.
Something's going to happen the next episode, and maybe we shouldn't mention that till we're done going through everything. But when you saw the previews for next week...
Yeah, but we also, this episode, I don't know if you remember, but this episode, when we watched the previews, we just seen Joe I mean, we seen Ryan telling everybody about his idol, so then they wanted us to think, oh, they're going to go after
Ryan.
They're going to go after Ron. So that's all bull crap. You know, it's production. They try to make us think things that ain't happening.
Yeah, but I also think, okay, Lauren, when you look at those 7, and I can't remember what the original tribes were. I was trying to think of that before we started talking, because I know, you know, the 3 healers that are left are Cole, Mike, and Joe. And then the other ones are 4 and 7.
Right.
So who's ahead in the 4 and the 7, the 4 and the 3 of the 7?
I don't think anybody. I don't think they. You know, they think they're in trouble already.
Oh, I wonder if Lauren doesn't think that she's in trouble. I wonder if Lauren isn't going to come up with something.
She's A-OK because she's got that advantage. And, you know, immediately everybody starts saying, splitting the votes. We splitting the votes. You see how dangerous that can be, splitting the votes, when somebody like Lauren has 2 votes?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it can get really dangerous when you, and that's the thing with an idol. If you don't know how to play it or use it, or even act like you have one, then you're in trouble. There's so many advantages to having an idol, but you have to play it right. You know, and what you don't do is go around telling everybody that you have, you know, everybody. Right. It's people on this same tribe. If I would have told one person that I had the idol, I knew I had to tell the other, because I was immediately thinking, what if this person goes and tells this person? Then I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So,
well, nobody else knows about Lauren's secret advantage but Ben, because that's the only person that, right?
Right, yeah. But will he tell somebody because he just ratted Ryan out?
Yeah, well, he hasn't so far, you know, but what does that show? That shows that he has a heck of a lot more trust in Lauren than he does in Ryan.
Yep.
A lot more.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Right now at this point, if the game ended now, they probably would all vote for Ryan to win. You know, or no, if it ended right now, they would probably, I don't know if they would give it to Joe nowadays. Now, if this, you know, the whole bitter jury thing, I don't know what would happen there, because people seem to think that it's changed nowadays since my bitter jury until now, you know, but I don't know.
No, I had an extremely bitter jury.
But yours was right. Yours was right after mine, so congratulations.
Right. Yep. Yeah. ours was bitter too, but that was because of the quitters on our season.
Right. Yeah, but it must have been a pretty bad season. You had Purple Kelly and Naonka quit, and you almost quit, but you pulled through.
Quit. But I almost quit at day 5, and before we started the game, they told us if you make it to day at least 10 or 12, you're going to be.
You know what the winner on my season? The winner on my season, you know what she asked production? Legitimately asked production, when is the hotel break?
What?
Yes, Natalie White asked production, when do we get our breaks and go in, you know, and get to rewind and go to a hotel and eat.
Oh my
rest.
Gosh, are you kidding me?
She thought that they did that on Survivor. She had no clue. She thought for sure they have to have hotel breaks. That's the winner. The winner of my season.
I've never heard that. Never.
Yeah. The production told me that. One of the producers, one of the big producers, he told me that. He's like, you know what Natalie told me?
Oh,
it was after the game was over. You know what she asked me? I'm like, no way. He's like, yeah, man. She thought she was miserable out there.
She had no clue.
No clue. But you have to give it up for people like that. You know, she didn't even say at one point ever say that she was going to quit, or that's a strong girl, man. Our season was the same area basically. No, I know Nicaragua because I played in Nicaragua. But Samoa was, man, it was bad that season. I can remember going 10 days without eating anything besides coconut because it was so wet. There was no way you could start a fire even if you had a freaking lighter. It was just bad.
Yeah, how many days did it rain? How many days did it rain in a row?
It felt like it. It never stopped. It was ridiculous. At one point, they had the challenge where I had to hold the coconuts in the thing. Now, I was a tough guy. I pride myself on that kind of thing. I was chapped between my ball sack so bad that I couldn't walk. Now,
do we really need to know that, Russell?
Look, I'm going to tell you how bad it was. I could not walk. I went to the doctor. You go to a doctor after every challenge, and I'm like, look, I'm bad. It's bad. It was bleeding. And
okay,
while we was moving in,
challenge here, the water challenge.
While we were moving in, I was trying to walk straight. I was just killing myself to walk straight because I didn't want to wobble like a duck on the way in to the challenge. You know how you do when you chat.
Oh.
So,
well, no, I really wouldn't know.
You wouldn't
Sorry,
know.
Russell.
So it was bad.
That would be painful.
It was bad. It was the worst experience of my entire life playing Survivor. So it wasn't no fun. Yeah, I look tough and look like I was in control.
Yeah,
but it's
well,
bad.
We both know. People will ask me, "Was it fun?" I'm like, "What do you mean? How can be sleeping in the rain for 17 nights in a row be fun?"
Right.
No, it wasn't fun.
So it was.
But hey, what about that water challenge? JP held his breath that long. Did you see that?
Yeah, he went straight.
Stayed under the water.
He went straight, and I can guarantee you, Ben, he went down, and then he came up for a breath. I guarantee you he smokes. Because when you do
I never thought about that.
Oh, yeah, when you go down and you're holding your breath, if you're a smoker, you're not going to be able to hold your breath too long. You know, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but some people just can't, some people don't like water. I mean, some people just have a hard time underwater.
Yeah,
Period.
I mean, yeah, it freaks him out. But he didn't do that bad. He came up, then he went back down and he got it. So they did the water challenge, and it was a reward challenge for sandwiches. And then I had to rewind it because it's cold beer, red wine, and chocolate cake. So
oh my God, that chocolate cake looked unbelievable. And then there's Joe again.
There's Joe cutting up the cake.
Yeah, under the cake. Yeah.
Looking for the idol.
Right in front of everybody.
I think that's very stupid.
Yeah.
And Joe listens to the podcast.
From the beginning, and they ended
Holly,
up winning. Yeah.
He listens to the podcast. Joe, he listens to the podcast, so you could tell him hi if you want.
Oh, okay. Hi, Joe.
No,
Joe,
but it's just don't look for idols, Joe. In front of everybody,
no.
Joe.
Joe, under the cake. And then he's going around lifting the beanbags up. I'm like, oh my God.
And then he's digging and digging. And they say, oh, what's Joe doing? Oh, he's looking for idols. Like, your days are numbered when you do that. They're numbered.
Yeah.
And you can, and the only problem is you could use that strategy. Oh, they're going to hate me. They're going to take me to the end. But you're going to have somebody like Ben that's thinking, well, you know what? He's playing a hell of a game. And he's looking for idols, and he's working his ass off. If he makes it to the end, he's winning the game.
Yeah, it depends on what your outlook is.
It depends on who you are as a person, and how you, and your character as a person, and how you vote. If you're going to vote for the person that hurts your feelings and be a stronger person, then they would vote for Joe. If they're going to vote for, if it's a popularity contest, then they're going to vote for Chrissy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But, they're on the yacht eating all this drinking.
Oh, that was a nice yacht.
And then they go by camp.
Where'd they get that yacht?
They moon them. That was the best part of the show.
They get that nice yacht. They drive by camp like they pushing it and like rubbing it in their faces. I would have jumped in the water.
We all know what it feels like.
Oh,
I think I'd have swam out there to try to get something to eat.
I'm still butthurt for not going to some challenges. I can make me a hamburger right now. I'm in my living room right now. I go to the kitchen, I make me a hamburger. I eat it. But I'm still pissed that people didn't take me to the challenges where I could eat me a hamburger. So it's
you mean the reward?
Yeah, it mentally gets to you.
Oh, it does.
You can be strong and moon them.
They come back and they talk about the food they had and what they
Those
ate.
are the assholes that does that.
I actually got to go on a few rewards, so I was really lucky. Almost all of them.
Well, I got I played 2 times in a row, so I got to experience rewards.
Right.
I mean, even the first time I played, we won a few rewards. And that show that one thing that it reminded me of when I played is when they win the rewards, they don't suck in the experience. Like, for instance, when we won a reward, it was with Laura, me, I don't know, the rest of the group. When we won that reward, we got to fly in a plane, and we flew over Samoa, around and around, looking at the beautiful view. Well, the entire time we're flying, Laura and what's his name? Crazy guy. The one that said he got clotheslined by the clothesline. What was his name? I forgot his name already. Sure, half the world has. Dave Ball. So he was there, and Dave was whining like a little bitch, and Laura about, when are we going to land so we can have a hot dogs? I'm like, guys, when are you going to get the experience again to get chartered in a plane for free to go over the most beautiful scenery you will ever see in your life?
Yeah, and they're worried about a hot dog.
They're bitching about, let's hurry up and land so we can eat our hot dogs.
Yeah, but we
Not
also
me.
know, Russell,
I
at the
kept
same
looking
time,
out that plane, and I was sucking it in. I was like, even when I left season 19, when I walked off the island, I said, Mick, Natalie, I said, hey, guys, they stopped filming and everything. It was it. It was over. I said, look, y'all turn around. I said, look at this. I said, because this is one moment you will remember for the rest of your life, this view right here. So we stopped for about 10 seconds, and I just looked at it before we turned around, walked away, and that was the last time them two ever had that experience again. So, you know, it's something that you have to embrace.
Yeah, you do. You do. But at the same time, you also know how hungry you are. It's like you forget you forget to think about looking at the view or appreciating everything you have because you're starving.
But you know it's coming. It's coming. You know, it's
Yeah,
coming in an hour. You're going to land and you're going to eat. You know, so just look at this. You know, that kind of gets to me because
those four that were left on the beach. You know, oh my Lord! Of the four of them, was there four of them stood there? Yeah, they stood there and they mooned them. I thought that was perfect.
They mooned them.
Yeah.
But you know that got to them deep inside. Because you're thinking,
you what?
You know that got to them. They got, you know, the watching
big
that
time.
nice ass yacht. I mean, I have some very wealthy friends, and you know, none of them. One of them has a 72-foot Bertram. None of them have a yacht like that. I don't know where they got that thing, but that was a $15 million boat.
That was beautiful.
All day long.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
That's like something Donald Trump would roll around in.
Yeah. No, he'd probably have something bigger.
I don't think he has something bigger because he has little hands.
We both know that, you know, okay, I'm not going there.
He has little hands.
Food at this game is very important. So when you're standing on that beach and you see them in this beautiful yacht and know that they're eating all this food, yeah, that would be hard to swallow. That would be very, very hard to swallow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that it was nice seeing somebody's booty.
Yeah.
You think production likes? One time, and I know I keep going to my stories, but our listeners like to hear stories that happened. And me and Parvati got really close, you know, in gameplay on the island. And one time she was changing, right? And it was pitch dark. I walked up on one of the cameramen, and he was filming, or not filming, watching her change. Because I seen it on the lens. I was like, dude, what the fuck? That goes back to the next podcast I'm about to do with scandalous perverts in Hollywood and Washington.
Oh, well, absolutely.
So she didn't.
But was the camera going, or was he just watching her through the
I think
was he filming?
He was just he was just watching because he had the black light where you can see, or whatever it's called, where you can see at night. It was pitch dark, and I walked up behind him, and I just looked, just kind of joking around with him, looked at it's what he was looking at, just playing around, and it was her changing.
Oh,
That story's never been
wow.
told. I never told her that.
Wow, that's wrong in many ways.
So they got some.
We really actually, we never had anyone that we really didn't. We didn't have anyone that would just change right in front of somebody.
Well, she wasn't. No, she was in the tent. She was in the tent
Yeah, I know.
by herself changing.
But I mean, besides that, what I'm trying to say is that we just never had anyone that did that.
But you don't know that,
always
though.
left camp. Well,
I mean, you could have
whether they were filmed or not. I never saw it in our season
Right.
ever.
And Parvati, she's such a strong individual already. To her, it probably didn't matter. She's just doing her changing, doing her thing. She's
Right.
She's a strong girl. Well, some people aren't that strong. It would affect them, like we're seeing that's happening right now, all in the news. Which I don't want to start ranting about that stuff. That's another
We'd be on for
podcast.
another 2 hours, Russell.
Well, I'm about to do a podcast on what's going on and all that craziness with all the names, but that's next. Right now, it's Survivor.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, that happened. Actually, now that I think, this just crossed my mind. That did happen to me. On day 30, I Chase won a challenge, and it was a reward, and he got to pick 2 people to go with him, and he picked myself and Jane. And we went to this very nice spa, and we got massages, and we were able to take showers, and it was an outdoor shower. And I'm standing there taking a shower, and I took my top off, and I turned around, and the cameraman was standing there. And of course I was like, "What the heck are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, just pretend like I'm not here." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll most certainly do that." And I turned around, and I'm like, "You can leave. I need to take a shower." So yeah, that did happen to me. And the camera was on.
Look,
He
that
was
happened.
actually filming. They showed.
They would
Yeah.
follow me, and I understand. They was following me everywhere, and I would look for idols all the time, so they would always follow me. And they had this one girl. She had the single cameras that that they grab when you move on. I said, "Hey, I'm just going to use the bathroom," but she just kept following me. So as I'm pissing, I got so mad, I turned around and kept pissing while she's camera. I'm saying, "Oh, since you want to film this, I'll go ahead and you can go ahead and film me pissing." And I was pissing in a moment, and she just turned around and walked away. She just turned around and walked away. She's like, "Whoop." Okay.
Oh.
Like, "Oh, you want to watch this? Here you go." I'm pissing. Russell's pissing.
And for some reason, Russell, I could believe that completely.
Oh, that didn't happen.
Completely. Okay, so let's. Okay, what about Joe and Joe get in on Ashley?
Oh, wait.
And
Yeah.
This was a little bit of part of the game that you have to help me out here. Somebody called somebody a goat, and I must have missed that, and I wasn't able to go back and rewind it.
That was Joe called the only cute one left. What's her name?
Ashley.
Ashley. That's Joe calling Ashley a goat. That's the one that was
that's
upset.
who
Yeah.
Okay. And so was Chrissy. Chrissy was upset as well. She got up and left. She said, "I'm not listening to this."
Yeah. The best thing to do in that
yeah.
situation is keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing. Let them, because what they're trying to do is get under your skin. That's part of the game.
But for some of us, that's very hard.
It's very hard. It's very, very hard. And it takes strong character to do that. But when you can do it, it makes you a stronger player.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very hard to keep your mouth shut in situations like that. Yes, it is. So we kind of started out with Joe, so we kind of got that out of our system. But Joe may be saying a little too much. Sorry, Joe. I'm just telling you that. Because you said he listens, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Saying too much.
I think that I don't think it's good strategy for him doing that, and I don't think it's a good strategy for her getting that upset over that. She's taking it extremely personal. Hey, I get it though. I understand it, but you have to go out there knowing that that's going to happen. You have to go out there knowing you're going to be tested mentally and physically. You guys that's about to play, that's get the opportunity to play such a great, crazy, amazing game. You're going to be tested mentally and physically at your very more than you've ever have in your entire life. Be ready for that.
Yeah, that's something you really can't. You can think about it, and you can think about preparing yourself for it. But until you get out there and it truly happens to you, then that's when you have to really let your inner strength kick in and say, okay, I can do this. You know, I had so many plans before I went out to play Survivor. I was going to do this, and I did the complete opposite. Because it's not just the people, it's the elements, it's the cameras on you 24 hours a day. You know, it's these people from all walks of life with all different personalities, some getting under your skin, some you can't stand. You know, that putting that all together, that's very, very hard to deal with. Very, very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So you can try to prepare yourself for that, but that's why you need to play each second of that game. You need to be thinking each second and never let your guard down in anything that you're doing all the time.
Right. Always.
Yes.
So they have the immunity challenge. And surprisingly enough, it is Lauren that gives Cole a run for his money. And she actually wins it. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, I actually was glad. When she started moving a little bit, and so I can't remember who said it, but somebody was sitting over there that was already out, and they said, "Don't go too high. Don't go too high."
You see, and that's another mistake.
Yes, yep. Don't say anything, because even Ashley said something, and then someone went out. Yeah, because
what if Joe? Number one, if Joe loses, he's going on the jury, and the things you say, he hears, dummy. So, you know, and number two, Joe might win them all, and then he's sitting there, you know, winning $1 million.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised Ashley was the first one out because she's so athletic.
I wasn't surprised. I was surprised the first person out the game was an Olympic swimmer. The challenge, you know, you do challenges in the water. If you have an Olympic swimmer on your side, it's a positive.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, we really didn't get to know her much, did we? I wish we would have a little bit more.
No, I was shocked. I was actually shocked they got rid of her because they had to know she was an Olympic swimmer. Knowing that you're going to do challenges and trying to tell me you're getting rid of the weak because they're older than you, or you know, and I'm assuming they're getting rid of her because she's older. Then you go ahead and get in the water and you do see who swims from point A to point B faster. You know, and see who's older than. Yeah. But anyway.
Well, and that's why in the swimming challenge, Ashley was very smart too, because, you know, that's what she does. But that's kind of why in the other one, I was a little surprised she was the first one out. It didn't take long and she was out. But I was glad to see that Lauren won it. And I truthfully think that as soon as Cole lost that challenge, I would bet you anything deep down inside he knew. He knew that there was a huge, huge possibility.
But they're going after the.
I mean, just like when I was in the Final Four, I have to admit, when I was in the Final Four and I was the first one to drop the coins when we did that balancing challenge where we had to stack coins and my coins went down. You know, I was praying that Chase or Sash were going to win that because we were going to vote Fabio off. And as soon as Fabio won that, deep down inside, we were walking back to camp, and I'm like, I just think I'm going home. Yeah. And I went back, and I tried to talk my way out of it. But Cole had that same feeling. There's no doubt in my mind he did.
Oh, yeah, he knew. And it shows a lot about how they're playing right now. They're going after physical threats pretty early. Mm-hmm. They've been going after him for a while. And instead of the strategic threats. You see, it's backwards how we used to play. You know, we went after the strategic threats. That's why Boston Rob was going after me right off the bat. You know, and I'm like, wait, don't you want to win challenges? Well, he's a smart player. He knows. A strategic threat is way more dangerous than a physical threat. You can get rid of the physical threat. He's not going to win every challenge. Get rid of him later. But they've been gunning for him for a while because he was physical.
Well, the proof is right there, Russell. He didn't win that challenge. So, you know, they're just kind of thinking, but also they're trying to get rid of those healers, and that's very obvious gameplay. You know, the three of them that are left, we got to take one out. let's take Cole out because he's the the physical
Yeah,
threat.
so they
Joe
finish
may be getting under their skin, but
right, and they finish that challenge. They go to camp, and now the scrambling begins. And the names that are thrown up there are Joe, Mike, and Cole. Mike, he's like, actually, at this point, he's trying to do something. He's trying to play the game. And I think that can help him because he's going to go back to camp and start playing. And he knows he's a sitting duck. And instead of hollering and screaming at everybody and trying to create paranoia and being a bully and getting under their skin, I like to call it a survivor bully, not to say that Joe's a bully in real life. It's just in the game of Survivor. So instead of doing all that, Mike does the opposite of that, and he kind of does what they want him to do, and he's like, okay, guys, let's do this. And he's starting to play more of a strategic game, and I think that's a stronger game.
Right, because Ben said to Mike, vote Cole, and he said, okay. He just agreed. They were sitting there in the hut, remember?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Ben. Wasn't it Ben that said that to Mike?
Ben, yes. So now he's trying to do what. And then the funny thing is, Mike looks at Joe at Tribal and says, "Don't worry." It's like,
follow my lead. Play along with me.
And then he gives him the idol for himself, which was a mistake.
No.
It was a
mistake.
He had that idol in his freaking pocket. He gives it. He plays it when the paranoia made him play it. He wasn't even in the picture because he became part of the team in his mind. And Ben was like, he's going to vote the way we want him to vote. Ben thinks he's in control. Ben thinks he's got everybody under lock and key. So he does what Ben wants, and then he plays the idol.
So you wouldn't have played the idol?
No way. I would have seen straight through that.
Would have you played the idol for someone else? Would have you given the idol to Cole?
Yes, I would have. Most definitely.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Because
that's exactly what I would have done.
You
want to save those three players.
You want to stay strong as you can to the end. You see, I'm a loyal player. I play with my team to the end, and I try to get my team to the end. And if you find the further you go, you got 3 days every tribal council. The further you go, the more that can happen. So I would have saved my team. Went looking for another idol immediately to save my teammate again and try to get further and further and try to convince someone to flip. Because they're going to flip. They're going to split the votes. So when they split the votes, you have an in right there. You have 3 people that's loyal. You get one person to flip. You got 4 votes. As soon as they split it, they're gone.
Yeah, I was very surprised that Mike did not give Cole the idol. I thought when he got up and he handed it, I was like, he's going to say this.
I thought he would too, because 3 is more powerful than 2. Especially, like I said, all you need is one person to come, and you have to always, in my mind, I was always aware that they will split the votes. So I have 3 powerful numbers. 4, you get it. You win with 4. One person flip that's at the bottom of that 6 at this point, then you have it. That's it. You win.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
So now that one person, instead of being number 6 at the bottom of 6 team alliance, she's number 4. She makes it to the final episode. She damn near is right there. All she has to do is win one challenge, and she's in the final 3 for $1 million. That's how I would explain it.
Yep. I agree.
So he didn't do that, though.
No, and he wouldn't have gone home anyway. So you're right. It's total paranoia. I mean, he didn't see it that way. Of course, you don't when you're out there playing.
He had to have known that it wasn't going to be his name. He just was so paranoid he put that. Now, if it would have been me and I wouldn't have known Joe, or I wouldn't have taken a guess. I would have let the vote happen. I would have had to know, at least think I know who they're going to vote for and who I can save. But if I wouldn't have known, I would have put that item in my pocket, and I would have saved it for another day for me, because you can't take those kind of risks. You have to know. Like when I gave it to Parvati, I knew that what was going to happen. I just had that feeling, that gut feeling that I was going to come out ahead at the end of that.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of idol play in our game. In our season, we just didn't. I mean, I remember Marty giving it to Sash, and that was about it. But you guys had a lot more idols played.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Mike says that he's playing with high morals and character. Some people play like that. That's some people's game. I just don't understand how we watch it, and year after year we have one. Either someone's getting pissed that somebody voted them out in the game for $1 million, or somebody's like, "Oh, I didn't do nothing wrong this entire game. I was honest this entire game." Like, what? Yeah. Really? Then you don't deserve to win. I said
before I left, I'm not going to lie, steal, or cheat, and I did all three within the first 5 days.
Right. Like, well, my season when I voted this is crazy. 7 people voted my name. Okay, I played the idol to save myself. They all voted me out, and then when I saved myself, Laura says, he just stirred up a whole lot of hell is what he did. So what she wanted me to do was just tuck my tail between my legs and go home. It's like, what? Hey, I'm playing the same game you're playing. I'm trying to save myself. And now I stirred up a whole lot of hell because I saved myself that you tried to vote out? Like, that shows you what kind of person she was and how bitter of a person she was going to be. But that's... Yeah, I say that on my first episode.
Yeah.
So
well, I didn't understand the whole Mike thing right away when he leaned over and said to Joe, "Follow my lead."
I don't know why
and then a little bit of me was like, "You don't like Mike?"
No, I think
what
Mike's.
Did you say?
No, I don't know why he did that. That's actually a bad move.
I like Mike. I like the way.
It's a bad move again. Because if Joe goes home right there at that point in time, all Joe remembers is Mike saying, "Hey, I got your back," basically.
Yeah.
And now he's home with a vote that gets to give a vote now, and he's gonna think, "Oh well, what about that time you told me that you follow your lead and you was giving me hope when there wasn't any? Why would you even do that?"
Yeah. Yeah. He'll bring that up. He'll totally bring that up. Yeah.
So,
but it was kind of obvious who was going home tonight. Bottom line, I mean that's to be expected.
It was obvious, and I just don't get it. They kept going after him because he's physically strong. So they get rid of Cole. Cole's gone. Ben's in control. Everybody knows it, and now who is it? What's his name? With the idol in his pants.
Ryan.
Ryan still has an idol in his pants, and he's telling everybody about it.
And Devin and Ben know, which is good for those two because that's going to bite them in the ass.
Yep. So that's what we're looking forward to next episode. And maybe you can come back on the show sometime, Holly.
I would love to. So I want to ask you who do you pick Final Four?
Oh, by the way, what's your name that walked in for Tribal Council? That got voted out?
What's her, I can't believe I'm so bad at names.
Desi?
Okay.
Desi. That's beautiful right there. She walked in and shining like the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like,
smiling.
It was like, damn, that girl's pretty.
Now, did you see, when she walked in, did you see was it Devin or Cole? I can't remember. I think it was Devin. Did you see Devin's reaction on his face?
Wow.
That was Devin, wasn't it?
I don't know, but they never seen a beauty queen dress up like that. She looked like she was walking in. She looked like she was walking in a pageant, like she was about to.
Yeah, she was gorgeous.
She was
gorgeous woman.
That's pretty. But yeah.
All
right, Holly. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. And what was that question?
Absolutely, Russell.
Well, you was about to ask me a question before we go.
Well, I will say, sometimes I do hear talk about who's Final Three, who's Final Four. This season, I have absolutely no idea, and I don't want to.
Nope, I don't know either.
So I don't either. I honestly do not know. So do you ever make predictions who you think is in the Final Four?
I don't know who's in, just to make that clear first.
Okay, and I don't either.
I mean, the way they're playing, I would have to say they're smart enough to get rid of Ben. I wouldn't think they would take Ben. I think that Chrissy's under the radar, really, because she's behind Ben. You know, so right now it doesn't look that rough for Chrissy. She's kind of on the outside looking in. So I think that Chrissy's going to go all the way to the end. I think she'll win it all.
Okay, I think I absolutely do not know who's where, but my final 3 prediction is Lauren, Mike, and Chrissy.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I say
Yep.
I say Chrissy.
have absolutely no idea.
I say Chrissy, Mike, and what is Ashley? Or is that her name?
Ashley. Yep, the blonde
Yeah.
gal.
I say Chrissy,
Okay.
Mike, and Ashley.
Okay, so who's going to be right? We both.
And then
got
I say
Chrissy
Chrissy
and Mike.
wins
I've
the
got
game.
Lauren, you got Ashley.
I say Chrissy wins.
You'll take what?
I say it's a tie between Chrissy and Mike.
I'm predicting Mike is the winner.
That's crazy if I'm right. It's going to sound like that I know what's going on, but I don't. I'm just going up by what I see. I'm going by what I see. I don't go on these stupid sites. I don't do none of that shit.
Nope.
I'm just going by
So
what I
we got
see.
Chrissy and Mike together, but I got Lauren and you got Ashley. So
Yeah.
who's going to be right?
I think Ashley, and if she listens to the show, I apologize, Ashley, but I think Joe was right by calling her a goat. He's right. She's the perfect goat. So he'll bring her. And goat can mean 2 different things, by the way. It could mean greatest of all time, and it could mean a goat. But and I'm not.
That's right. One never knows.
I'm not going to even say which one I mean.
Sometimes that's best, Russell.
Yes, it is. Never know. I might be having dinner with her next week. You know me.
Yeah, you never. Now, why would I predict that?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And why wouldn't have I predicted that you would have picked Ashley as final 3? Hello.
Oh, come on. The hottest one is sitting on the bench. Already got voted out.
Yeah, beautiful woman.
All right,
Beautiful
Holly.
woman.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me,
All right,
Russell.
have a good one. See you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Become a patron and get more content and bonus episodes, including video commentary of every episode of Survivor Samoa, weekly episodes of Whining with Wine, and you can become a patron for as low as $5. $5 gets you Russell's Alliance, $10 and you become a game changer, $25 and you're a legend. Go to patreon.com/RussellHance.